All right, all you devils out there, here we are, the 10th, Friday the 10th of January, and yeah, so there you go, all right? So a little new intro, a little promo here for what we are affectionately calling Trade Devils University 2.0. It is coming soon. Now, yeah, I'll probably keep that in the pre-roll for a while here, but I'm not going to be a relentless pimp to this, right? I'm not one to do a lot of promotion here, but I want to mention it simply because we've completely retooled, literally custom coded an entirely new platform. So we're just trying to make it more efficient, easier ways to communicate the educational content to members. And in doing that, we're restructuring all of the pricing, right? So that doesn't necessarily imply that all the pricing is going up. We're just breaking it apart. So there will be lower cost ways to participate and perhaps take a first step into some of our content or into the community. Some prices will go up, some will go down. But the point I'm trying to make here is that for any of you that may have been considering membership with us, the real advantage to doing it now before we roll out is that any what we're calling original Trade Devils will be grandfathered into anything and everything that we offer, right? So what currently now we just have the monthly, but if you're a member and participating in that monthly, you'll get unlimited access to everything that we do, regardless of price points. So there's a real advantage to kind of stepping in right now. If you've been on the fence, there will be some economic advantage to that. So I mentioned that again. I won't be talking about this on every single video, but for those of you that aren't aware, because it's coming, we're hoping sometime in the next couple of weeks there will be some real advantage to you. All right. So with that all said, we'll keep you posted on developments and continue to tease it with some more content as we have it available. All right, guys. So let's get to Bitcoin, and actually I'm also going to take a quick look at Ripple because I forgot it on the last one on Wednesday. Right. So we've changed the format a little bit here. So we're keeping the deep dives over to the members, and I'm just going to give you sort of a kind of the broad strokes here. So we've got some movement today. We've had some movement, not enough to change the count dramatically. If anything, I think perhaps it's reinforcing this count. So right, we've looked at this several times, right? As members, we've been through this many times here. So now I'm in log scale. Note here in log scale, right? So recognizing that for a bull, it looks better in log. Right, so swing high, swing low. We come to the 50. You will note here, right? Again, I've mentioned this before that we get in log, we get a slight break here of the golden zone. But look, we catch the target to the tick. Now, note also the target. Again, we've talked about this before. The high volume node here, right, catches the pivot to the tick here, but the count. Now, what's interesting here before we get into it, I take it out of log scale. Of course, here we've got the break of the golden zone. It doesn't change where we get that pivot. But what you can see a little bit more clearly here, because an algorithm won't look at it in log scale. That's just for an Elliott analysis. But note here this perfect ping here from one golden zone to the next, right? It's just tick to tick. This is the way algos work, right? So this one's defending, then this one's defending, right? So we get the break here. So the bias, all right, you advantage to the bears, right, with that break here. So it's just literally, it's just absolutely remarkable, right? It's tick to tick, right? Just in a big box. So before, right, there's any progress made in terms of any sort of bullish upside, we got to get out of that box, right? Even with the breaks down here, this will be important. But then, of course, there'll be the hang on a second. Let's get this up here. This point I'm trying to make. We'll have the bigger one up here. Right? This is the biggie we got to get over. Right? So what's that? We've talked about this before. Right? You'd want to see a close around 12,000 or higher. Right? So that battle wages on. Now, going into log scale. So sorry. Excuse me. Going into log scale. Well, what's the advantage of that? Well, it potentially now it gives you a better look at the subdivision here. So let me clear this up here because we'll get into the Elliott count. So nothing has changed here with the count. It's still operating on the assumption that this section here, which is a bit tricky, that we've had an A, a B, an expanded B, right, and then we get the C here into the X, right? And that's unusual. But note here, let me zoom in a little bit. The similarities of these moves, right? So this This move here where it looks like we've got 3, then clearly that's a 3, and this is just a straight rip, right? There's no subdivision there you can work with. But note here, right? So it's very similar. So we get this 3 followed by this 3, another expanded B, but rather than just the straight rip that we had here, now it looks like we're getting an impulse that's forming here. So potentially, now of course just potential, right? 1, 2. Now we've bumped into, let me zoom in here. Right, and I'm sure whether you're a YouTube sub or members have all seen this, right, done this, right? So I'd like to think, right, I don't have to do this for you. You've already done this, right? So question is, which pivot? I'm going to use the lower because that's what an algorithm will use. So note here, we've run right into this trend. The trend line was, we looked at those 2 trend lines that are competing here. So we had the break here, but we catch this. Now we're in between the 50 and the 618. Right, so it's sort of interesting. So if this is going to be, because this leg here it lacks clarity, right? So I don't care who you are, right? There is no Elliottian that's got certainty about the count here, right? And if you tell me you do, you're full of shit. You don't, right? There is no certainty as to what this is. You may think you've got a count, right, that may end up being realized, but there's no certainty as to what we have here because of the 3s. So if we just assume that from the X, well, we know we're looking for an ABC. So whether this is the A, I'm inclined to think that that's our A, right? So let's, fuck, I have to do it. Oh, what's the easiest way to do this? Let me back it out a little bit. So this may be easier to do it this way. So we go A, B, and we're seeking the C here. Right, so if this is going to play much like this did, although this is more extreme, if this is going to be A into an expanded, slightly expanded, but we do get the expanded B wave, rather than the straight rip here, it looks like we're playing an impulse, but we're not quite there yet. So this could still fail and roll over here. Then we're kind of back to trying to figure out what we've got here. But right now, there's a candidate for this to be working as a 1, 2, maybe, let's measure it. 3 could be, although we don't have any subdivision on that 4. So this would be a reasonable spot to be looking for it. Now, question mark as to whether the 3's in there. Now, so we had a perfect, right, and the members, you all saw this because we posted it in the room and many of you took the trade. We have a perfect golden corner here, right? So let's draw it up. Let me tighten that up. I changed time frames. You got to, right, take note of that. When you change time frames, you got to tighten up almost always, right? There'll be a little wiggle with your fib pivots. Okay, so from that low, here's the golden corner we get. Oh shit, actually I have it. Forget to use this thing every now and then. So there it is. Okay, and then here's the pitchfork that goes with it. Okay, so let me pull this off for a minute. All right, so here's the perfect golden corner, right? I literally, again, as I say this before, I can't Photoshop these, right? It's just literally, just boom, right from the golden zone. So we get here, so here's the first target, that green line here. We get a little pause right there. Eventually we get the median line, and now we've gone through, and then we get the trend line here, resistance. So is this far enough? So note here, we've already overlapped the 1. So already you're looking at this going, okay, so now we're talking diagonal. Does that look like an ABC? Questionable, right? So even looking in terms of, I know this is going to get hard to see. Let's clear some of this out. Okay, so this one, right? So we can ignore. So this has already been realized, right? So this golden corner, that 80% been realized. All right, so let's pull this off. And let's take this one off. Okay, so let's look at it per a potential Elliott structure. So if on the for the sake of analyzing the count here, if this is A into an expanded B, well, we need a motive wave here. So right now, so if that's going to play as our 3, you're kind of stuck doing that, right? Which, right, again, it's not that couldn't be it. It's just how much confidence do you have in that, right? That's not great subdivision. So you're kind of left here going, do I want to put money at risk on something where it's a little bit unclear? Well, of course, we can just start doing some basic TA on this and say, all right, well, yeah, we broke the 1, but we hold the 50, and we got a little low volume here. Maybe that's going to go up here. Maybe we get this for the 5, right? So then we'd have a better feel for, okay, the A, B, and potentially the C going in here makes more sense. So that would give us the potential now. If this is if this is going to trade as an A, and then we've got an A, B, C into a B, so on the larger degree, we'd be thinking of it as this way, A, B, and then still going down for the C, although let me get that micro work, and let's change the color so we don't get lost, right? So potentially now there's the A. We'd be looking for the B, right, just as I've tried to describe it here, right, into the C before we go down for, so that would give us we've still got to go down for the Z, so we need an A, B, C here. So here's the A, we need the B, and then pushing down for the C. So again, now we looked at the potential target down here in the mid 5s as a candidate for the 2, and then we'd be golden zone in log scale. Right, so something to keep in mind as a contender. Now, additionally, part of the hesitation here, if this is 1, 2. All right, well, we've made 100, so we're long enough. So it's a candidate for a 3. You know, again, you've got suspect subdivision here. So I suppose the other possibility here is that we're not done yet. So this could go higher. So, fuck. My least favorite feature of TradingView. Okay, so let's think about the alternates here, because this is not great separation here. Now, granted, I am out on an 8-hour, but it's not. You know, what do you got? You don't have a lot to work with there. So one possibility here is that this is not done. So let's push this all up. So this could be the A, B. So we could have something along these lines here. So we'd have A. Now maybe we get this, right? A little deeper, and then we go up. Now you feel better, but you'd want to see this go like that, right? So we'd be playing with the idea that with that overlap, for this to finish as a motive, we're left with the diagonal. So, you know, again, do you want to risk money on it? Right? I don't. I'm long, right? Everybody knows I'm a bull. I'm long here. I'm not doing anything new, right? So yeah, I took a little pop on that, but that's, you know, those are just essentially that's like a scalp, right? There's not relative to where the potential is here. That's just a single, right? So, but nice, right? That's very tradable. Right? Nothing wrong with that, right? We've got. Oh, what did you get? 68, 70 up to 80, you know, 84, 50. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that trade, right? It's a nice little pop here, but overstaying your welcome, you know, maybe something to think about. So from the low here, we're not quite to the 50. So remember, there's an algo on the other side, right? So we got to look at this. So before you get overly excited about where that's going, first thing that has to happen, we got to break that 65. And even it could be a B wave. So you got to break that high. So you say, okay, now I think perhaps I've got it. Now, if we were to go get that, then you got a better idea of, okay, looks like, all right, now I can see, although ideally it would have been a 50, now I can see potentially an ABC, which would give me the 3, not the 5. Because I think this is too much of a force fit to say, oh, there's your B of the ABC of that diagonal. I don't think that's there. I think that's a little hopium. So if that goes up for the 3, well, then you'd be back here revisiting here. So this is, right, so this would not be uncommon for a diagonal, right? So that we don't make the impulse target of a 1618, but we just do the 1271382. We got an algo target close by. You know, that wouldn't be shocking to come up here and get the ABC into the 3 that way. But really, all you're setting up is coming back to test the 50 before you get that. So if now I don't have it, right? So again, this is all just speculation. If this is going to continue to rally here and get us into that 3, well, then you're looking for, pull that off from the low, right? Diagonal, we're looking for something technical at the 50 if we get that retrace. Right, to set up the 4 to the 5, right? So I would look at both of them, right? So again, I don't have this pivot up here. I'm just trying to put together a trade. So now I get this kind of nice confluence here. So if that starts to come down here, well, first let's get up here and let's get a break of that high so you can feel better about the 3 in the 3rd. Do we get that? If you get that, you take that all day long, right? That's what you're after, and that would complete. Now pull that out, right? So that would complete the C and the 5th of the B, but all that's doing is setting up the move down. So if you pull back out on this and look at where all of this would be taking us here, this would be A, and we'd have it, right, just as I tried to draw it out for you here. So A, B, we're looking for the C before coming down for the final leg to give us the 2 the Z, and the C, right, you know, we log zone right into our golden zone, or log scale, I should say. All right, so is all that going to happen? Well, shit, you know, of course, nobody knows, right? But you got to plan something out. You don't want to just be blindly reacting to every pivot. So you want to lay something out here and go, all right, this is what I think, applying Elliott rule set and what I can see so far. I should say rules and guidelines, right? This would seem like a path that would make sense, right? It would complete everything here that's been this range where we've been kind of, you know, what the hell have we got here, right? It's lacking any clarity, and it's already been a little unusual with these potentially now, what again remains to be seen if this is ultimately the count. But the back-to-back expanded B waves, that's a little unusual. A little unusual. But so I don't think there's anything to do. I wouldn't be a buyer into this because I don't think we're about to just rip. I think this well, also look at this. All right, so let me clear some of this up just because it's going to get very hard to see. All right, so of course we're going to be dealing with this. Right, so so this would be a reasonable spot to be putting in the 3 at the golden zone from the X pivot, right? So put the 3 in here, retrace. Now we come back. Now what we're doing here is you note here the algo fight here. You'd have a golden zone here where you'd have golden zone to golden zone, but we'd be working off the 50. Let me fill that in just a touch more so you can see it. Okay, all right, so we'd have golden zone to 50. Well, that 50 is what you're looking up to take it up to get that target. Now your target at the 786. So if this is going to go A, B, C into a B, that's a perfectly reasonable spot for the B wave. But remember, of course, algorithm could care less, right? No consideration of an Elliott count. But look at the confluence up here. If I go up to the next X, right? Boom. So that's what I see happening here. I think this will be an opportunity for those of you that like the short side. If we get up to that level. I think we also had the 100, right? If we take this, that's it. All right, so you can see that right now I'm allowing for the expanded B. Here, let me do it this way. All right, you can see this? All right, so we go pivot to pivot to pivot, right? So we get the 100 there as well. All right, so just something else, just another confluence point that gives this some technical validity here. But as we are moving off of this, you want to see this finish with well, in this case, it would be a diagonal. So we're looking for that diagonal to complete this because then the count makes sense. So then you're looking for this. Okay, yeah, that's a short, right? Am I going to take that? No, well, I never. Well, rarely do I ever short Bitcoin, right? But if I were to get that and set this up, that's back the truck up right there. That's both hands, right? As much as you can afford to buy without disrupting your lifestyle. Let's be clear here. And I'm not saying lever up on it. I'm saying that's an opportunity. Should it be presented to us? I don't know that it is, right? But boy, would I be aggressive there myself, right? I mean, again, it's all context of what you can afford to do without disrupting your lifestyle. But if we get that kind of opportunity, I need to look long and hard here. Now, the other thing that I thought might be worthwhile is to look at this slightly longer term. We can see it a little bit better. And here, so I'm out to a 3-day weekly, going to give you essentially the same view. Again, where you can see this, right, just tick to tick, right, one golden zone to the next. So if we're going to come down lower here, right? So this being spent, right? If this is broken and we head down, next spot where you're going to be looking is down here, right? That's the next volume node here where some size could come in, mid fives, right? Am I rooting for it? No, I'm not rooting. I'm long. Of course, I'm not rooting for it. But per the Elliott count, right, hard to see a way out of this without one more leg down. Right? I hope I'm wrong. I absolutely hope I'm wrong. But that's what I see. Okay, so now earlier in the week, when we changed this, the way we kind of restructuring our format, although I'm 19 minutes in, I haven't done much to be brief. Get this up here. I was trying to do the top 20, and I missed Ripple. Right? Yeah, new format. I don't know how I missed it, but I did. Right? I don't trade Ripple much, and here's why. Okay, so let's go. Now Ripple has really passionate believers, let's say it that way, right? I mean, some people, it's a love-hate, right? But I'm not tied up in the project. But I'm a technical trader. I'm looking at that chart going, okay, why? I'll come back here. Why are we getting all excited about Ripple? Right? I mean, it's pretty much like every other alt, right? They're just horrific looking charts, right? The only argument you can make here is that it's a place for accumulation. That's it, right? There is, well, here. I know people like to show this. Okay, so let's just focus on this last little bit here. Oh shit, what do we got here? So you can see it's technical. I mean, the algorithms are in here. So here's the swing. Here's the 50 to the tick. Here's the target to the tick, right? So look at the reaction off the target, right? So I'll say, how do you know it's an algorithm? Well, look at the reaction off the target, right? That's how you know. So that's tick to tick reaction, right? Now look how that target just becomes the support until ultimately now we break. So even if you were thinking, oh, because this looked like maybe you had a chance for an impulse here. Even this was a little. You had to work kind of the ABC here, but there's a 5 that finishes it. So you were thinking, hey, maybe we got something here to go, right? It was just like so many of the alts, you get the big failure swing, right? So we know it's technical. We know algorithms are in here. We know we can track that, but we don't quite get the same setup here, right? Yeah, you get a 38. If I use this, a little front run here on the 38. You don't really have a clear play here. So you'd think, oh, could they have used a secondary pivot? Maybe. Right? More than maybe. Obviously they did. Right? So again, you can see it. Right? So here, front run on the target. Let's get that low. So we come up here. Here's the slight little front run. Right? I always would encourage you to for your entries, front run it just a touch because the algos will. Right? So what do? Right, I promise you guys that is not coincidental, right? That's to the tick on the target, right? So we got to the tick over here on the target, then we get to the tick again on the target, but these are all selled. So why would you be thinking anything other than sell until we break some of this major resistance? Again, you trade them till they fail. All right, so as this comes up, right, so I know. It looks like, hey, maybe, right, we've already overlapped here, so best case, you got a diagonal. Why would you be thinking anything other than that? Because you're long and you're bull, right, I get it, right, so sure, right, so if you got a big move out here, the percentage return, right, that's a big move, percentage-wise. Well, what are we doing? We're going from 20 cents to 26 cents. I know percentage. Guys, I understand, right? So that may be okay, but you're trying to essentially here's what you're doing. You're saying that's the low. Right, now maybe if this had looked a little bit better, right? So already the 1-2 is a little maybe. All right, so we ran into the 233 here. Didn't quite get to the 1618. You've already broken if that's the one, because if you take this to the hourly, it looks like it's a WXY. This is not a clean 2. You'd have to go, Jesus, ABC, ABC, ABC. You'd have to work it as a WXY to deal with this sideways fuckery. And then, right, do you have a great, maybe, okay, so 1, 2, maybe, yeah, it looks like you got an ABC, okay. But you would have preferred to see it hold that pivot, right? So you had an impulse, and now you've got just kind of an ugly, maybe could be a diagonal. As I was saying in the other video, I'm not worried about, would I trade Ripple? Yeah, of course, right? So if it starts to go, but I'm not worried about missing the monster move in Ripple. Really, I'm not sure what. Again, a lot of people. So, do I think it's a pain in the ass when I need to wire money? And is Ripple a better solution? Of course it is. But are we there yet? Does that you gotta. If you're trying to trade fundamentally, different story. If you're reading a chart, there's nothing to suggest that buyers are stepping in here to rip this thing higher. But if they did, let's just say they did. Okay, so maybe we got a funky maybe. Okay, all right, we'll allow for the overlap. We'll get that. We'll go to something like this. Okay, so if I get that 1, if, heavy emphasis on if we get this, right? So let's say we get that. Well, what'd you just do? You ran into the 50, right? Considering how technical it's been on the sell side, you know, so what would you anticipate? Of course, right? Nothing other than that. So if you got that, then this here, okay, I can see that. That would make sense. But until you get that, the market's got to prove itself. Otherwise, you're just rolling dice. You're just rolling the dice on that. Yeah, I love Ripple. I think it's going to go. Okay, maybe. But why be, why just hit the hopium pipe and, hope your stop doesn't get hit? So a lot of people like this, particularly younger guys, because you're looking at that going, God damn, I could load up at 20 cents. Man, I could really load up. But it's always about percentage, right? Percentage return. How much money do you want to park in Ripple? Perspective, guys. How much money do you want to, oh shit, here I'm on Bitstamp. We can see it. How much money do you want to park there? Be prepared to leave it there for a while. I'm not saying this isn't coming. I'm just saying right now, there's no reason to be a hero down here. You're not going to miss anything. All right, guys, so much for keeping it shorter. Got to work on our new format. Okay, guys, there you go. Lots to chew on. If you have questions about what we're doing with 2.0 or any of those things, we're very easy to reach. Twitter, YouTube, email. Write us. We'll be happy to respond. All right, guys, have a good weekend. Talk to you.